Hey everyone, Warwick's here. So I made some Death Knight PTR videos on Sunday night? Might have been Monday night. Either way, I made some Death Knight PTR videos because I am waiting on the mad hopium that Druid gets the updates that I think are coming to it for both Balance and Guardian and the class tree. So I was like, I'll make some Death Knight stuff because I don't think they'll change, but you know, have to do it from BTR because I don't have beta. Lo and behold, I have beta. Thanks, Blizzard. So, instead of I'm re-recording these videos for Frost and Unholy DK from the perspective of beta. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of look at these from the perspective of beta. Where we get level 70 talents, there is a level 70 server. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through Frost DK, go through both builds, since I actually have the ability to do that on this video, unlike in the PTR video. And then we'll do a video on Unholy that'll come out probably tomorrow as of the release of this video, which will probably be sometime today as I'm recording. Anyways, so what I'm going to do is I have my Volpera Death Knight because all my friends are playing that are in beta are Horde side, so I decided to pick Volpera Death Knight because why the fuck not? I'm an Alliance player, so whatever. But what I want to do is I want to kind of talk about a build that I've kind of set up that I think is going to work in raids that utilizes two-handed frost. They've made some changes to the tree that I think better support two-handed frost, and so I think that overall we're looking in a position where we can kind of maximize the potential of two-handed frost. Now ultimately I think this is going to be better suited to a raid build and not to a Mythic Plus build, because I just don't think there's enough AoE damage going on here. But you know, two-handed frost is an option on the table, which is something that I know is important to a lot of people and is an idea that I've kind of been coming around to. I was initially like for two-handed frost, and then the initial implementations in Shadowlands made me anti-two-handed frost, and I was like, nope, we just need to go back to dual wield. But kind of seeing the efforts that Blizzard has been putting into two-handed frost and trying to make it better, along with keeping sort of the classic dual wield builds strong as well, I think overall nets the spec a lot more positivity in my eyes. So this is kind of the basic build that I'm doing, a little bit more Mythic Plus focus, which is why I have something like A-Bomb Limb and of course ERW. I would consider for single target raid builds, I'd probably consider Soul Reaper over A-Bomb Limb depending on the fight. If it's like pure single target, think a Rygalon style fight where you're generally only attacking one target at a time, then Soul Reaper could potentially see some play in there. I don't know how it fits into the Frost rotation itself. I'm not that experienced in messing around with it. My gut tells me it's probably not too well. So I just kind of see that A-Bomb Limb and ERW are probably going to be your basic default. And then I kind of just took talents that are going to be kind of situated as I think is a good general build. So we grabbed things like Anticipation, we grabbed Gloom Ward for a little bit more defensiveness when you go Anti-Magic Shell, Anti-Magic Barrier, well, mainly AMS, but also you get things like Permafrost could definitely be working here. You could switch this point over to Permafrost. And then, of course, we run this last point here in Unholy Bond. Now, right now, I can't Runeforge my items for whatever weird freaking reason. I might be doing it wrong, but like I went to Acris and it didn't allow me to Runeforge my items. So I don't have any Runeforges on in this character at all. If I'm wrong and you're in beta and know how to fix that, please tell me, because I don't know how. Sorry guys, my one contact is like bothering me. Anyways, this last point here in Unholy Bond could be thrown into Death's Echo if you needed it, but you'd have to spend a point on Unholy Ground. You could come over here and put a point in Insidious Chill for Mythic Plus, Unholy Endurance to give you a DR on Lichborn. You've got Permafrost, you could take Blood Scent even. If you need a better AMZ, you could take Assimilation. You could do the Icebound Fortitude CDR, which would make it a 2-minute cooldown. All sorts of options. Excuse me. Do I have water? I have a little bit of water. Sorry about that. On the Frost side of the tree, I think it's a build that no one would be surprised with. There are some flex points around here. Frostworm's Fury potentially could see into Horn of Winter. You could take Biting Cold, move it into Horn of Winter if you want the more on-demand resources. You could grab Glacial Advance, but I think overall you're going to see that that's less necessary because you have Avalanche. which now applies Razor Ice to your target. This is kind of the biggest change that buffs two-handed Frost. And then of course you're leaning really heavily into Frost Strike damage, and then also leaning heavily into Obliteration damage with Frigid Executioner. You grab both Icecap and Obliteration, which I think is a big boon to this spec, and to the viability of this spec. So we're just going to kind of take a look generally at how this kind of gameplay feels. I'm probably not going to talk a lot for this because I'm kind of experiencing the full build for the first time. So I kind of just react to it and go from there. To start off with, of course, you would want to, raise your ghoul up, get him on the 1 minute cooldown. Obviously, you're going to come in with Pillar of Frost, Remorseless Winter. Eventually, as you spend your first couple of obliterates, you get Empowered Rune Weapon going. I did not take Cold Heart in this build, so you could move the point over into Cold Heart and then also get like Proliferating Chill for like Mythic Plus type situations. But for two-handed Obliteration, I don't want to be spending runes on anything that isn't Frost Strike in Remorseless Winter, or is not Obliteration, and Remorseless Winter as much as humanly possible. There's even a possibility you skip out on Remorseless Winter and come grab a couple more things on this side, but I just think that Improved Rhyme and Remorseless Winter are just too big of a boost to your DPS. So let's start. See, I've got some different keybinds that I'm working with here. Also took the old Icy Citadel talent, so it's now called Enduring Strength. When your strength is increased by 10% for 6 seconds, and then it lasts longer for every Obliterate and Frost Scythe critical strike during Pillar of Frost. So you're maximizing crit damage here as well. So crit's still going to be an important stat, probably the most important stat for this build. You're looking at crit mastery and then some haste being useful as you can get it. I think overall that's kind of what you're looking at for this build for a two-handed Frost build. So let's kind of mess around with it a little bit and see what we get. So I'm going to go in with Raise the Ghoul, hit that, and then we'll... Now because we have Obliterate, you basically are rotating. And then we go through here. And use your Frost Strikes here to get your Strength buff going. This back up. As you can see, I've already got like 15 seconds on my thing, and I got a ton of rune generation coming here, so you can just spam this. You will prefer overcapping on runes to a runic power to overcapping on runes. So as you can see, we got our Pillar of Frost back. Accidentally hit Rhyme there, which I didn't mean to. See, I'm low on runes, so we Frost Strike to get some runes back. Did. So you can see this build plays very simple. Obviously, I'm not playing it super well right now because I'm very rusty. But then you could add things in like Frostburn's Fury, grab Avon Limb, which gives you, Killing Machine procs. Obviously, I'm using these in very poor timings, but kind of the basic rotation I think feels really good actually. Obviously my stats aren't great. I only got 8% haste. Typically you're going to have a lot more than that as you move up the gear ranks. So for the most part, see Pillar of Frost already back up, Remorseless Winter back up. Normally I'd have some weak auras here that would help me track all of my abilities a lot better. I kind of realized that I rely really heavily on them. See, we got our 10% strength increased, we got Unleash Frenzy going, we got Bone Grinder going, we got Icy Talons going, so like we have a lot of nice little under the hood buffs that are really working well here. So we're just gonna dump all this runic power, get some runes back, and we're gonna back out. So that's kind of the two-handed Frost build. It feels very similar to kind of what you play now, but the addition of having Icecap and Obliteration, along with some under the hood stuff like Cold-Blooded Rage, giving you Killing Machine, Bone Grinders giving you Killing Machine, and then of course the Avalanche change. I think those 3 changes in particular, or 3 additions to the two-handed Frost build, I think overall really help the build shine. Now, let's go into a dual wield build. Now, I think that the two-handed Frost build is going to be useful only for raid situations because there's just not a lot of damage going into it. But let's mess around with a dual wield Obliteration build real quick. So we're going to play pretty much the same. We're going to take away Might of the Frozen Wastes. so that we can grab a point in Gathering Storm. I think it's going to be our best bet there. Now, with Avalanche still being an option on the table here, you would run both Fallen Crusader and Rune of Hysteria, I think, is your best options. So, let's see. I got almost all my cooldowns back. I'm not worried about Frostworm's Fury. So let's go in now and do kind of like the basic stuff here with the Dual Wield Obliteration build, and let's see how this one feels. I imagine it's not going to feel much different, but we'll find out. So we're going to go in, raise the Ghoul, go in from there. And then we go into our usual Frost window here, Empowered Rune Weapon to get more resources going. As you can see, we're low on resources, so look, we just pop in runes really quickly because of the ERW, getting them back very quickly. So Dual Wield Obliteration, if this is your preference, you prefer the one-handed look, or you like the way that the Blades of Athena, the Fallen Blades of the Prince as Legion artifact looks, whatever the case may be. So we already got Pillar of Frost back. Again, I would have Weak Warriors to better use it because I'm not good at looking down at the bottom of my screen. So just kind of messing around with it. It feels pretty much the same. I don't have a working version of details. I need to go out and find it to kind of see what the potential damage breakdown looks like. Obviously, and like I said, I know I'm playing some things wrong. Obviously things like Slappy Hands, you got your Frostworm, you got Pillar of Frost back already. So like I know there's things about this that I need to be playing better, but for the most part, like the dual wield and the two-handed build feel the same. It's just going to be a matter of, is two-handed going to be good? Because like right now you can run things like Gavel, the Jailer Gavel, and two-handed Frost has some potential viability. It's not universally used because generally speaking, Breath of Syndragosa is just that powerful. But overall, like the dual wield obliteration Icecap build feels pretty much the same. I think whether or not you run something like this button, whether or not you run Might of the Frozen Waste is going to come. Oh, I didn't even apply the changes. Jesus. But whatever. I think the idea of running something like Might of the Frozen Waste is going to come down completely to whether or not you actually are two-handed weapons better than dual wield, which is just strictly a tuning thing. In this expansion, it was somewhat viable early on, and then as the expansion wore on, just the scaling of two-handed weapons for whatever reason fell off, and so you saw dual wield kind of take over pretty strong here. All right, so let us reset the talent changes on this side. For the class tree for a Breath of Syndragosa build, I don't think you see much in the way of being different. So let's reset all talents. So what I'll do for this one, I'm going to take Permafrost instead of Anticipation. I'll take that back just because. Grab the crit, grab the ward, grab the Runic Intent alternative. Let's see. We'll grab the Acclamation cooldown. We'll get Blood Draw to get these talents. And I have 3 points left to spend. I'll get Wielding of the Necropolis and a point Unholy Bond again. And then this side of the tree, what we're going to do is grab the Runic Power increase to improve Rhyme, Biting Cold, Gathering Storm. We're going to grab Enduring Strength just because I think it's still going to be good. We have to grab Unleash Frenzy because we want to come down here and get Rage of the Frozen Champion. So we're going to grab that. And then of course we got to come down here and get Icebreaker. So more damage on Rhyme. More Runic Power generation through Breath of Syndragosa. And then, of course, we're grabbing Everfrost, which is current conduit that's very, very good. And then with this build, there's even some more interesting possibilities where you grab Cold Heart. So what I'm actually going to do is grab Proliferating Chill instead of Gloom Ward. And then we'll come take... No, I'll grab the City's Chill instead of Unholy Bond. Alright, so we have 4 points left to spend over here, so I'm going to grab Cold Heart, this, then Avalanche into Frostworm's Fury. I think this is kind of what you might be looking at as a sort of generic Breath of Syndragosa build. So let me change these talents. Let me get Breath of Syndragosa added to the talent tree. We're gonna put it on. I'll put it here because I don't need that. So with the Breath of Syndragosa build, I don't think you're looking at things in a much different way. Because with 2 charges of ERW, you can make the breath go a long time. I think that's kind of the goal that Blizzard sees with Breath of Syndragosa, is make it last longer, which kind of conflicts with the general community feeling, because in practice, longer breaths don't necessarily mean better breaths. So, alright, let's take a look here. So let's go ahead and start by, of course, we've got our 20 stacks of Cold Heart. I don't need this here, so actually what I can do is switch that up. Of course, we don't use the 20 stacks of Chain Cold Heart until Pillar of Frost is ending. So, we're going to start by raising the Ghoul. We're going to Pillar of Frost, and then we're going to come in and start building our runic power. We're going to Pillar of Frost, Dancing Rune Weapon. Slappy Hands, we'll go ahead and use this just for fun, and then we're going to get right into Breath of Syndragosa. So, I've got 10 seconds left on my ERW. As you can see, Breath is just rolling right now. And I've got really high RP. I'm not really losing out on anything RP-wise. We're keeping Icy Talons up. Now we're going to use our... Oh, the second charge isn't working. That's fun. So that's a bug. But there's our breath ending. So second charge of ERW isn't working. That's a little unfortunate. But for the most part, that build still feels pretty much the same. So the conclusion that I've got about Frost DK, kind of messing around with it with these max builds, is that personally, I'm really looking forward to trying out a Icecap obliteration build. I think there's some real possibility to it. I think for Mythic Plus, you're still going to be looking at Breath of Syndragosa being the best overall talent. Once 2 charges of ERW get fixed, I think that's going to allow, and I probably use them too quickly, I think that's going to allow for really long breath windows in Mythic Plus. So on long fortified trash pulls or chain pulling, your breath is going to do lots of work for you. There are going to be fights in raids, of course, with big adds. Think of Anduin, for example, where there's a lot of adds that spawn, where Breath of Syndragosa is going to be better than the two-handed Frost build. But I think, in generally speaking, in more single target oriented situations, you're looking at potentially the two-handed Icecap or dual-wield Icecap obliteration build ending up working out better for the spec in the long run. So overall, just a quick little 15-20 minute video that I wanted to do on Frost. Now that I have beta, I think at level 70 both specs feel kind of the same. Just a lot of stuff under the hood that makes the spec feel much more improved. I won't say much more improved. I won't say feel much more improved. That just makes the spec better. Like, there's a lot of good stuff going on under the hood. I know there's going to be some people that are like, oh, but all this stuff is passive. Like, you're not really getting anything active going on. Like, you know, things like Cold-Blooded Rage and Bone Grinder and Icebreaker and Invigorating Freeze and Everfrost, all that stuff. Like, Button Bloat is a real concern for a lot of specs, because, like, now I can get Asphyxiate, Death Pact, Wraithwalk. I can get, you know, potentially grab Soul Reaper over at one of these buttons. You can grab Control Undead. You can get, you know, Icebound Fortitude, Blinding Sleet. Like, there's a potential just on Death Knight alone, Glacial Advance, Frost Scythe, Chill Streak. Like, you could add something like 6 or 7 buttons. Now, as you can clearly tell based off my keybinds, I've got room for it. But there are some specs, like I know Druid, Monk, Shaman, for example. All 3 of those specs have a ton of keybinds now in Shadowlands, and they're adding more to the spec. So it's just an unfortunate side effect where almost every spec is getting some stuff built up out of it. But for the most part, you know, a lot of passive stuff underneath the hood for Frost that's going to make it really strong. We'll see how the numbers plays out. I'm sure guys like Tazenak, Biceps Pumps, and the guys at Accurus, the ladies and gentlemen of Accurus, because I know there's some Lady Death Knights out there. Shout outs to you guys. Shout outs to you girls. My apologies. But I know the folks at Accurus are going to work out things that are going to work really well overall. I'm sure they have already. based on kind of current feeling. You know, obviously we haven't gotten any strong tuning passes, Blizzard's already starting that a little bit, but we're not getting anything that's going to be real definitive for probably until close to the first raid tier / Mythic Plus season. So overall, Frosty K, very good. If you're looking at for a melee spec to play that's plate wearing, has like multiple styles of play, Frosty K I think is a good pick for you. So we'll do Unholy next, guys. So until the next video, I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all enjoying yourself. You have fun gaming, and I will see you all in the next video.